It's a historic moment for the Black Management Forum. The organization has appointed its first top female leaders in its 46-year history. Dr Sibongile Vilakazi is taking over as BMF president, while Lilly Moabi has been elected as her deputy. The forum's last female president, Dr Vilakazi, was elected back in 2003 with a male deputy. Well, we have in studio this hour the new sheriff in town, the lady of the moment herself, Dr Sibongile Vilakazi. Thank you very much for coming so late in the evening to speak to us. Nolita Fagude, 2003, in a 46-year existence of the organization. What happened? What took the organization so long? Surely this was not the plan, right?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the invitation. As BMF, we are quite honored to be here and tell this story that we are so excited about, because it is a historic moment for us as an organization. It took so long because clearly we live in a patriarchal society, whether we like it or not. We have to accept that. And because BMF is largely a male-dominated organization, our membership it tips on the male side. It's majority males and then females. So essentially it would take men in the BMF to ensure that a woman emerges, because it's an election, so men must vote for a woman that they believe can lead the organization. So I guess then you will need progressive men, if you consider that the kind of society that we live in. So men have to believe that a woman presidency is a possibility, and it can be successful. So I guess that's what has happened. We have found time, I guess, now that men in the BMF have realized that in order for the organization to be taken forward, we probably need women leadership at this moment.
So do you think maybe yourself and your deputy, maybe your other your other goal might be to add the fact that you'll try and get more women to form part of the membership of the BMF, because you say it's mostly male.
Yeah.
So maybe that's also a problem.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be one of our legacies, because we want to drive hard the culture that makes women in the BMF feel comfortable to participate, the way we do things. Surely something needs to be questioned by why is it that we tend to attract mostly men than women. So we need to start questioning those things and ask all the right questions and start bringing more women into the fold. We do have them, so that the majority tends to be men.
So the ratio is tipped
towards
the
men.
other side, yeah. So what does your election and the election of a deputy that is also female for the first time in 46 years mean about your transformation agenda?
I think it sends a very clear message. There's no other message than this, because transformation for the country and BMF in particular is largely about, I mean, the name says it's Black Management Forum. Yeah. So it's been largely about focusing on race and as a priority. Obviously, we look at women as well, but race has been a focal priority. But now the message is very clear that the gender aspect is just as crucial, if not more, actually, because we all know if women into our society are a majority, and also if you empower women, chances are that you empower a larger population of the society. So the message is very clear on the women agenda in particular, especially because BMF is a thought leader. So when it takes a stand, society finds the path and it follows. So that message is clear, but also then the message of transformation broadly and inclusion in our society, it says BMF is ready, and therefore we are ready to take society along with us to find sustainable ways of transforming society.
Well, the wheels did turn slowly, but at least they're starting to turn, and I'm hoping the other part of your agenda, besides making sure that there are female leaders in companies, whether it be private or public companies, etc., will also be the issue about pay disparities. You find that a female is a CEO together with a male, but the pay disparities are also just, they don't make sense.
Yeah, so the whole agenda of transforming the experiences of women in the workplace, at home, society. There's a lot that still needs to be overcome. This is a step, at least BMF has seen that the tick is bring women on board, and then we'll see how they transform their culture and the lived experiences of women. And it talks to society as well, that all of those challenges that women still face, even in organizations where they may have achieved the first part of bringing women into the boardrooms, for instance, or into the organization, but the payment gaps, issues of harassment at the workplace. Like, there's a lot of experiences of women at the workplace and in our society that needs to be challenged and questioned, and I guess the time is now.
And you individually, as you know, the newly elected president, second female since 2003. It's 2023 now, so it's 20 years later. What do you want to achieve?
Well, the gender question is one, but also going back to the basics of what the BMF stands for. I mean, we stand for managerial leadership development. We find ourselves in a society where managerial skills, you may argue, that we are struggling. Leadership skills, we are struggling. There's a lot that is not going well, which you can easily attribute it to leadership challenges broadly in society. Doesn't matter where you look. And as BMF, we have differentiated ourselves as an organization that should drive that skills development for managers. So if we have such challenges in society, it means it can be attributed to a failure of some sort from us as an organization to take that role as serious as we should be taking it. So we would like for this presidency to drive those aspects, that this go back to the basics that can really assist society to move forward. Second one is our role in policy making and redefining what does transformation mean in the current environment.
Yeah.
You know, at some point it meant being included into the workplaces. We wanted positions of leadership in the workplace. You know, BEE came along. But what does it mean now? What does the current generation aspire when they think about growth and development as a black professional? So we want to have those engagements so that we start crafting the policies that address that. Maybe the policies that we've had for as long as we've had them, I mean, study after study tells us that we are not moving in the direction that we would like to move. Maybe it's time we reflect. Why is it that we are probably not doing something correctly? And maybe we need to relook. What is it that we need to be doing as professionals and in driving inclusion in the economy?
No, it's a very big task that you've been put in, because there's also the breaking down. You remember you were telling me how it was first the fight about race. The fight has now moved to become about women inclusion. It will also move, or is already moving, into LGBTQI plus inclusion, where, you know, some queer women will come out and say we're not even considered just because of our sexual orientation. Yeah.
And it keeps moving, and that's why it's important to reflect every now and then as a society, especially as an organization that has put itself at the center of driving this agenda. So we have to constantly be reflecting that, are we still on the right path? What is it that we need to start doing differently, if there's anything, so that it takes us to the path that we would like to see ourselves in? I mean, the same way that there was a genuine reason why the focus was mainly on race. But at some point, we realized that race alone is not enough. So the gender aspect, we thought it would automatically sort itself out in a way. But, you know, we know these things. We have to be deliberate and conscious about it. So that's where we are now. And then it calls for us to reflect on everything else, especially the managerial development aspect of the organization, considering our country and where we are as a country.
And empowering women will be very important. I mean, every now and then in South Africa, I think every single year, there is a sector somewhere where there's jobs for sex, where women are expected to also do things such as that in order to get positions that they deserve. So good luck in your position, and thank you very much for coming to speak to us this evening. That is
you.
The new president of the BMF, that's the Black Management Forum, Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi.